Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students, to your 13th class. And today we are going to talk about a very important topic. It's called sentences, clauses, and phrases. And then we'll be having at the beginning kind of a reading passage that we're going to read and then answer some of the questions regarding it. Let us start first of all with the following passage. Read it. 100 years ago, in most of the world, people did not have much choice about the work that they would do, where they do it, or how they would do it. If their parents were farmers, they become farmers. The society and tradition determined their profession. 20 years ago, in many countries, people could choose their livelihood. They also had the certainty of a job of life, but they usually could not choose to change from one employer to another or from one profession to another. Today, this is not always the case. Career counselors tells us that the world of work is already changing fast and will change dramatically in the next 25 years. The situation varies from country to country, but in today's economy, there is generally less job security worldwide. Even in Japan, where people traditionally had a very secure job for life, there is now no promise of a lifetime job with the same company. One reason for the lack of job security is the worldwide decreases in manufacturing jobs. Another reason is employers need to hold down costs. This has resulted in two enormous changes for the workforce. As you can see, this passage was talking about the jobs, the freedom of people to choose their job in the past, and the restrictions that we have today to change to choose our job. However, in the past, it was really difficult for them to change from one profession to other. However, today you can easily change from one to one. However, your job is always at risk. Okay, and here we have a group of questions. The most appropriate topic for the reading passage is career counselor, the society. Actually, it should be number D, changing career trends. The part of speech of the underlined word choice is a noun. The underlined word varies has the same meaning as the word differs. So right here we have actually just we have read this passage, and I want you to go back to page 75 and try to answer the questions regarding this passage. Page 75, interaction axis. Now let us start with our grammatical lesson. What is a phrase? Today we're going to talk about phrases and the two different types of the phrases: noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, adjective phrase, and as well as the adverb phrase. A phrase is a group of words that forms part of a clause. Okay? A group of words that forms part of a clause. So a phrase is just a group of words. It's not a clause. A phrase is built up on a head word. And types of phrase are named according to the class heading belongs right here. As you can see, we have noun phrase. The head word اللي هي noun. مثلا, a large jug of water. A large هي adjective, jug هي noun, of water هي أيضا preposition and noun. لكن هذا ما نسميه noun phrase. It functions as subject, object أو complement. لاحظوا جاءت هنا complement ما بعد حرف جر تكملة. Verb phrase, the head word of the verb phrase is verb. Have been seeing, function as a verb. Prepositional phrase, like prepositions, like by the road, by حرف جر, هذا بنسميه كاملة prepositional phrase. الكلمات التي تأتي ما بعد حرف الجر نسميها prepositional phrase. والفريز مثل ما حكينا مش كلوز. الكلوز ممكن يكون فيه subject وممكن يكون فيه verb، بينما الفريز only words. يعني only actually nouns. Okay, they can function as either preposition or complement or object. Adjectival phrase, the head word is adjective, very very big indeed. لاحظوا هذا adjective, part of a noun phrase أو complement بتكون. نحكي a very big car، أو مثل هذه الكلمة large jug، هذا هيك بنسميه adjectival phrase، بينما هذه كذا بنسميها noun phrase. لاحظوا الآن a large jug هذه adjective phrase، بينما jug of هذه بنسميها noun phrase، بينما of water هذا بنسميها prepositional phrase. So many phrases are entered together. Okay, they are intermingled together. Also, we have adverb phrase. Adverb phrase usually describes the verbs, right? The adjective describes nouns, while adverbs describes verbs. While adverbs describes verbs. So here, rather too slowly. So here, the uses and clauses is called adverbial. Now, if you get started, here's like kind of a basic review for grammar terminology. So, in verbs, the function is action or state. Peter ate dinner. Noun, thing or person, صح? The dog watched the squirrel. The dog and squirrel. Adjective describes a noun, مثل ما حكينا. The hungry dog watched the squirrel, or the grey squirrel. The hungry is adjective, describes the dog. The adverb describes a verb, adjective or an adverb. The hungry dog intently watched the grey squirrel. So intently describes the adverb, describes the verb right here. So the adverb can describe a verb, or an adjective, or an adverb. Also, we have another part of the speeches like pronoun. Here the pronoun replaces the noun. He ate dinner. He refers to someone, to a male, right? Preposition, اللي هو حرف الجر, links a noun to another word. I have, or I gave a boon to the dog. هذا noun, ووصل بيناتهم حرف جر. Conjunction, join clauses to words. Conjunction مثل and, but, or, هذه كلها بنسميها conjunction. So, yet. Okay? Peter read the paper and listened to the radio while he ate dinner. لاحظوا and هذه conjunction. وصلت ما بين clause، هذا clause ليش؟ لأنه في فاعل وفعل. And وصلت ما بين first clause and the second clause. هذا الفاعل هو Peter. الفاعل مضمن. While أيضا هو نعتبره conjunction. ربطت ما بين هذا الكلوز والكلوز اللي بعده اللي هو فيه subject و verb. What makes a sentence? Peter ate dinner. What makes a sentence is three things: subject, verb, object. Subject can be noun, pronoun that does an action. Verb expresses the action. Object actually receives the action. Okay, as you can see in this diagram, we have Peter ate dinner. We have subject, verb, object. This is also a sentence. Peter is happy. Peter is a subject, is a verb, and happy is complement. ما في object. A complement is a great deal like an object, but it differs in that it doesn't receive the action of verb. Instead, it is the subject. Who is happy? Peter. Who is Peter? The one who is happy. Complements can be nouns or adjectives. The key to understanding them is understanding the verbs that they follow. Verbs that take complements. في شيء بعض الأفعال اللي ما بيكون بعدهم مفعول به بس بيكون بعدهم complements. مثل intensive verbs. مين هم intensive verbs؟ مثل be, feel. They do not have action or moving out of them to affect a noun. Instead, they hold action within them. Okay? They don't move Actually, they don't have action moving out, لكن they hold action within. Look, for example, Peter threw the ball. هنا threw the ball في moving صح؟ رمي حركة. لكن Peter is happy. هذه within. إذن هذه حركة وهذه within. Inside. It's not out. It's inside the human being. The verb through is not an intensive verb. The action moves out. بينما the verb is intensive verb. Peter and happy are the same thing. Okay? So the mathematical equal sign Peter better represent the action of this intensive verb. Here we have some common intensive English verbs like be, feel, seem, and became. Remember, these verbs can be followed by nouns or adjectives. Either way, the words that follow intensive verbs are the subjects before the verb. This is how can we identify a complement. Peter is a teacher. Teacher is noun, and it's a complement. Okay, who is the teacher? Peter. Who is Peter? Teacher. إذن هذه subject مثل هذه. Peter is happy. أيضا هذه adjective. هذا كانت noun. Also is considered as a complement. كيف عرفنا إنها complement؟ لأنه قبلها verb to be. و verb to be بنسميه intensive verb. والintensive verb ما بيعمل moving out or the action moving out, although it's received the action within. So happy is also an adjective and its function as a subject. And this is also a sentence. لاحظوا هذه الجملة. Peter was in the kitchen. وعندنا subject Peter، في عندنا verb was، وفي عندنا adverbial اللي هو ظرف مكان in the kitchen. حكينا بأنه الادفيرب طبعا عارفين شو معنى السبجكت والفيرب. بينما الادفيربيال adverb or a group of words that tells where, why, when, or how the verb happened. لما تحكي Peter was in the kitchen وبدك تسأل سؤال شو بدنا نحكي؟ Where was Peter? Peter was in the kitchen. إذا في عنا adverbial بيسأل عن when، عن where عفوا، عن مكان. Where was Peter? Peter was in the kitchen. فإحنا بنسأل عن adverbial time. Okay? So this is also another kind of sentences. And here we have more adverbial example. Peter was a student last year. When was he a student? Last year. هذا بنسميه adverbial. Peter went to New York to visit his aunt. Where did he go? To New York. Why? To visit his friend. هذا أي شيء له علاقة في الادفيربيال إما بيكون متعلق في زمن أو في مكان أو في سبب أو في طريقة ما. Peter drive quickly. How did he drive? Or how does he drive quickly? So we can symbolize the basic components of a sentence in the following way. حكينا إنه الS للسبجكت ما نعملها، والV للverb، والI لمسألة الoptional، الA object، الC complement، والA adverbial. Okay. الI طبعا هذا من يعني intensive verb. You know, some verbs do not need object or complement or adverbial. But here's a new question. Is this a sentence? Peter ate dinner while he watched TV. Yes, this is a sentence. It is the sentence from an earlier slide. Peter ate dinner. هذه sentence with additional information added. Now we know that Peter was doing two things at once, eating dinner and watching TV. فوايل هذا بنسميه conjunction. The وظيفة conjunction, they add more, they give you additional information. Okay? And now we can know that Peter was doing two things at a time. Now let's take a look at the components of this new sentence. Peter ate dinner while he watched TV. How many subjects we have? We have one subject and two subjects. We have one verb, then we have two verbs. Then we have objects and objects. So we have the original subject Peter with its verb ate and its subject dinner. But the sentence continues with the second subject. This time he, a second verb watched, and a second object TV. Our one sentence is basically two mini sentences hooked together by the word while. mini sentences units كانت subject verb object أو complement within a sentence are called clauses. إذن هذا بنسميه clause وهذا بنسميه clause. So how many clauses we have? How many clauses we have? We have two clauses. while هي اللي ربطت ما بين هذه الclauses. والclause لازم يكون فيها subject verb object أو complement. Peter ate dinner while he watched TV. This sentence is composed of مثل ما حكينا two clauses, but we can still add more to this sentence. ممكن نضيف عليها. كيف الآن؟ لاحظوا. After exercising, Peter ate dinner while he watched TV. In addition to the two clauses we are familiar with, this sentence has the added words after exercising. The words after exercising work together to give extra information about the clauses, but they do not form a clause. هذا بنسميه phrase. لاحظوا الآن الفرق. After exercising. هذا بنسميه phrase ما بنسميه clause. The phrase give you additional information صحيح. لكن هذا بنسميه phrase. لماذا؟ لأنه لا تحتوي على مكونات الكلوز. شو هي مكونات الكلوز؟ subject, verb, complement أو object. بينما في phrase we just put words together. We don't have subject, we don't have objects, we don't have verbs, we just have words. We have words together, right? And here we have a preposition and gerund. A preposition and gerund. One way to define a phrase is to say that it is a group of words that belong together in terms of meaning but do not have both a subject and a verb. هذا اتفقنا عليه. إذن هي لا تحتوي على subject ولا verb. Another way to think of a phrase is to think of how it works within a sentence. When you think of a phrase this way, you can define it as phrase is a group of words that acts like one word. They are a group of words that acts like one word. Okay? Here we have some examples. The gym at the end of the street. The gym at the end of the street. لاحظوا. And an article noun. حرف جر article noun. حرف جر article noun. Do we have a subject? أول شيء. Do we have a verb? No. We don't have a verb. Okay? We don't have a verb. So all of these are phrases. So it is incomplete. We cannot make a sentence only with one phrase. We should have a clause at least. The gym at the end of the street is a new. لاحظوا الآن هذه الجملة. هذه الجملة هنا. Okay? The gym at the end of the street is a new. Do we have a subject? How can we know? Do we have a verb? Let us look. Yes, we have a verb. Is. Is a verb. Do we have a subject? We need to look back. The gym at the end of the street, all of these words or all this phrase is called or function as a noun. It acts like a noun. Okay, and then it functions as the subject of a sentence. Okay, and subjects are always nouns, صح؟ اتفقنا انه objects are always nouns. So the gym at the end of the street is in you. أو ممكن يعني we can delete this ونحكي the gym is in you. لأنه هذا مش noun phrase بنسميه. شو بنسميه؟ Prepositional phrase. في حروف جر نعم at و off هاي prepositions كل شيء يلحقه بنسميه prepositional phrase بتكون من حرف جر و article و noun أو حرف جر و noun مثل off the street في عنا حرف جر و article و noun. So we can delete them and the sentence is still correct. The gym is in you. Okay, as you can see the subjects are always nouns. بينما لو حكيت الجملة at the gym of the street is in you لو حكيتها بهذا الشكل at the gym عفوا at the end of the street is in you هذه خطأ الجملة هذه جملة خاطئة. Why؟ لأنه ما في subject. شو المقصود ما في subject؟ ما في nouns. طب إيش هذه؟ إيش هذه؟ street هذا اختصار للstreet. هذه هنا تابعة لمعادلة prepositional phrase مسبوقة بحرف جر. أيضا هذه prepositional phrase مسبوقة بحرف جر. A prepositional phrase cannot be a subject of a verb. Okay? A phrase within a phrase. Phrases can have phrases in them. يعني داخلين في بعض. Phrases داخلين في بعض. Look carefully and you will find a phrase within a phrase. The gym at the end نفس المثال اللي أخذناه. The gym at the end of the street. فلاحظوا الآن هذا noun phrase هذا حكينا عنه prepositional phrase عفوا هذا حكينا عنه prepositional phrase وهذا حكينا عنه prepositional phrase. How many phrases we have? 3. So this is what we call phrase within a phrase. This phrase within the first phrase acts like an adjective. The gym at the end of the street is in you. So this phrase هذا هو gives more information إنه هو at the end of the street. About إيش بس؟ About the noun اللي هو gym. إذن هي function صح هي prepositional phrase لكن function as an adjective to the gym because it describes the gym. It describes the noun. Okay? It describes the subject. So we call it adjective. And here, so it is actually function as an adjective. The second phrase at the end of the streets can be replaced with one word adjective such as large. مثلا لاحظوا هذه الجملة الآن أخذناها. مثلا The large gym is in you. أضفنا large. This replacement of the group of words by one word demonstrates the idea that a phrase is a group of words acting as one word. وهذا اللي بيثبت القاعدة اللي حكينا عنها في البداية إنه الفريز هي مجموعة من الكلمات function as one, acting as one word. يعني ممكن إنه نبدلها في كلمة. فاستبدلنا at the end of the street لاحظوا كم كلمة 1 2 6 كلمات استبدلناها بكلمة واحدة وألا هي large وما زالت الجملة مستقرة. The large gym is in you. في عندنا subject في عندنا verb وفي عندنا complement لأنه بعد إذ حكينا هذا intensive verb اللي بيجي عنده بعدين مش object نسميه complement. The one word that a phrase can be reduced to lets you know its function within a sentence. It also serves as a way to classify phrases. This part of the phrase that holds its function within a greater sentence is called the head. So the one word that a phrase can be reduced to lets you know its function within a sentence. In English, the head is often the first word of the phrase. اللي هي بنسميها الهيد وورد مثل ما شفنا في الشارتس اللي كان في بداية المحاضرة. Phrases are be classified by the type of the head. مثلا prepositional phrase شو الهيد تاعها؟ preposition as a head. مثل I am in love. in هاي بنسميها prepositional phrase. الهيد هو ال N. over the rainbow. look over the rainbow. over هو حرف جر جاءت بعدها nouns. هذا بنسميه prepositional phrase لكن the head word is, for example, if I give you a sentence, I will ask you how can you classify this type of sentences or phrases. لازم تكون عارف تميز ما بين prepositional phrase اللي تكون في بدايتها حرف جر والnoun phrase with the noun as a head. The black cat, a cat on the mat. Our verb phrase with a verb as a head. Eat cheese. I eat cheese. Jump up and down. Jump up and down. هذا أيضا verb phrase. Adjectival phrase with an adjective like full of toys, full of flowers, full of. full هذه adjective. مليء ب. Adverbial phrase with adverb as a head. Very carefully. Very carefully. هذا بنسميها adverbial phrase. Putting now all it together. Sentences are composed of clauses and phrases. Some sentences have only one clause and no phrase. Peter ate dinner. Others have two or more clauses. Because Peter ate dinner while he watched TV, he got indigestion. فلاحظوا في هاي الجملة كل هذه الجملة clauses and some sentences have only one clause and no phrases. هذه one clause بس ما في عندنا phrases. Here we have all of it are clauses. وذكروا الفرق ما بين الclause والphrase. الphrase ما بيكون فيه لا subject ولا verb. بينما هذه clauses لأنه فيها subject verb subject verb subject verb. Okay. Other sentences have clauses and phrases لكن في بعضهم فيهم الثنتين. After exercising at the gym across the street لاحظوا هذه الجملة هذا بنسميه phrases كلها. هذا حرف جر هذا حرف جر هذه prepositional phrase. Okay. Across أيضا هذا حرف جر. All of these are phrases. بينما Peter ate dinner subject verb. While he watched in the kitchen لاحظوا هذا phrase مش clause. While he watched TV في عندنا subject verb هذا بنسميه clause. إذا الفرق ما بين clauses وال phrases are clear now by giving these examples. Once identifying clauses and phrases becomes easy for you, you will begin to notice how good writers put their sentences together. You will be able to read what the writers, good writers, and how you will be able to read how the writers put their sentences together. Okay? And initially, once you become comfortable finding clauses and phrases in writing or reading, you can begin to work with the punctuation rules for correctly and effectively putting clauses and phrases together. For now, simply test out your knowledge of sentences, clauses, and phrases by doing these exercises. Okay, I want you to do these exercises by yourself. Important announcement. You need to look at the head first. So we have adjective, then it's called noun phrase, infinitive phrase, prepositional phrase, verb phrase. Also we have a noun. So this is actually the head word, so it's called noun phrase. Try to do number 2, 3, 4 by yourself, and here I want you to create adjective and noun phrases. You can find this exercise on page 88 or 89 on your into action axis. So please focus on what we have discussed today about the phrases and clauses, the difference between each one of them. Hopefully that you have got the idea. Hopefully you've understood the first passage. Please go to the interaction axis, try to read it by yourself and answer the questions in your textbook. Thank you so much for listening. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.